Hi, I'm Ointrilla. Welcome back. So we're in the second phase of campaign setup. In the previous video, we discussed about ad server. So ad server is where you put you upload your creatives. Now, their ad server is basically a database of all your ads. So whenever you create an ad, it's added into a server which is called an ad server. Pretty straightforward. But the most important part that you should remember is, and don't get confused because this is one most confusing thing that people might have, is ad server can be of two types. One is site served ads, the other one is third party ads. Now, what's the difference? A site serve ad server is a server which is inbuilt into your DSP. So let's say if you use DV360 and you are uploading your campaign in DV360, it becomes a site serve ad. Now, for DV360, it DV360 already has a Google proprietary ad server called Campaign Manager. It is also their own ad server and not a third-party ad server. Look at any other DSPs, like for example, OneCast or the trade desk. So they will always have a ad server where you can upload your creatives in it, and that would be to and then put your campaign and align with your campaign. Now there is an ad server which need not be in the same platform. So if you're launching your campaign in DV360, you can still create campaign outside your ad server. Yeah. So if you're putting your ads outside your ad server, this has certain advantages. Now, let's say you do not have complete control over your campaigns, but you want to have complete control over your ads. You are running a shampoo ad. Now, you have two sets of shampoos. One is for humid weather, the other one is for sunny weather. You decided to put the shampoo for the sunny weather uh, around the time when it's sunny. So you wanted to keep that in under your control and not let the campaign decide which ad should be displayed based on the weather. So what you do is you go to the weather forecast and see that, okay, so it's sunny, so let me run the sunny weather, and based on the forecast of the of next 7 days, I see that your campaign will run your sunny ads. Now all of a sudden it becomes rainy, so it becomes humid, and you want to run your humid shampoo. Now, what happens is if you have a third party ad server, you can swap it up. You can swap the sunny ads with the humid ads all at yourself, all at your end. You do not have to call the campaign managers and ask them to do it. This can be this is one of the advantages of having third party tags. The second advantage is if you are using a third party ad server, you do not need to add a separate tracking system, because in a third party ad server, your server will track the impressions, clicks, which you might want to embed into your ad server if you want to also tally the impressions and clicks at your end through another platform. So what I'm trying to say is, let's say if you have your campaign set up in DV360, DV360 will already show you your impressions and clicks. But let's say you want to be one step ahead and you want to track impressions and clicks again from another place, another platform. What you can do is you can use the third party ad server. So for example, you can use Sysmex ad server, and take those tags and implement and sync it to your campaign, then you're using a third party ad server. But let's say you are a person who is completely fine with the things that works. If you with the things that works in the ad server, you want to give the entire control to your campaign manager, then I would recommend using your own ad server, the site serve ads, and not use the third party ad server, third party ad server. If you want to still keep a track in your analytics, then you might want to give UTM trackers a chance. But remember, UTM trackers has its own disadvantages as well. It doesn't track everything. I will make a video about UTM trackers in future, but this is what you have to remember, that if you are using ad server and you do not really trust on its metrics, you might want to add some other ad servers tracking system. Okay, um, so this is how your tracking will look like. Now, uh, a third party tracking, if you are taking click trackers and impression trackers from them and implement it, then this is how it looks like. And a third party tracker will look like this one. So, okay, so this is how a third-party tag looks like, and it is an iframe tag, and this one is an impression and click tracker. Okay, so let's move on. Um, let's say you are at a point where you do not get the trackers from the client, and the client asks for trackers from you and asks for a way where you can generate trackers. You can absolutely do that. For example, you can use DV360's. You have to upload one first one in Google Marketing Platform's Campaign Manager, and then you have to download those tags and upload it in form of trackers in your sites of ads. Else you have to create your campaigns in your campaign manager if you are getting it from DoubleClick. DoubleClick is basically Google's ad servers. So if you're going to use DoubleClick, you have to upload your ads in campaign manager. For impression and click trackers, like I said, it's going to be 1 × 1 pixels that you're going to implement. But for third-party tags, it's going to be purely the creatives that you're going to upload in Campaign Manager. Same thing happens for the other ad servers as well. I'm going to give you one reference in the future slides where you will find how to upload a campaign manager tags and trackers and how to sync them to DV360 or any other platform. So it's basically an integration thing that we will discuss. Okay, so common misconception is an ad server might have targeting settings, but if you're using an ad server in correlation to a DSP, an ad server serves as a storage place and not as a serving platform. This is where I have seen majority of people doing it. Like let's say you use DV360, but you also use Campaign Manager and you don't use a site serve ad. So what they end up doing is they take the metrics from the ad server campaign manager and not the DSP. So they measure performance based on ad server. I want to stress on this fact that this is a wrong practice because your DSP has the control of all your settings. Your campaign is not only your ad. Your campaign has every other aspects which you should be looking at as well. So if you want to know how your campaign perform, you should always pull your report from a DSP and not from your ad server. Okay, now we are we are done with account setup. We are done with ad creation. The third important point is pixel setup. A lot of people make this might dodge this step, but remember, this is most one of the most crucial step of understanding how your campaign is performing and to get the audience data, because without audience you just cannot perform. Okay, so how to set up a pixel? What is a pixel? A pixel is a JavaScript code that you place on your website. So when I say website, it's not publisher's website; it's advertiser's website. So when you put a JavaScript code, it starts tracking um, the number of visitors, where they have visited. But for that, you need to put that same pixel in all the pages of your website. And that JavaScript code, you will get it from your individual DSPs. Um, some of you might be already familiar with the process. AdWords, Facebook, LinkedIn all have the same process. So um, all of them have the same methodology of putting the pixel. Either send it to your client, who can send it to their developers, or you can place the pixel in the code. But if your website is built on a website builder, I would recommend not to do that. You have many apps that would do it for you. So there are some websites like Shopify, website builders like Shopify, where an e-commerce website is built on. So you should not put JavaScript code manually there. You will have apps which is integrated to it. So always integrate an app within a website builder. Um, Once a pixel is implemented, you should wait at least 48 hours to get activated. Now, you can start creating the audience segment immediately after placing the pixel, but you cannot use it in the campaign. I have faced an issue where previously where I created the campaign in a day, and the client asked like, why is the campaign not performing? First, we need historical data to make a campaign perform. A campaign will not perform in one day. Second is, your campaign performance also depends on pixel. So again, the same thing, data, which again redirects to your pixel, should have at least 1,000 users to start showing your campaigns to. And for that, you need time. So remember, once the pixel is live, you should have at least 1,000 users in your website. If let's say you don't have 1,000 websites within 48 hours, that means people are just not coming to your website. Then you have to refine your strategy to bring people to your website. Okay, that's where you understand it's not a pixel issue; it's a strategy issue. Often people think, how would you know that it's a pixel issue or a strategy issue? This is how you do. Now, the second part is audience segmentation. Audience segmentation is now, when once you have brought audiences to your website, it is up to you how you make them go down the funnel. It's a very old sales funnel technique which applies even today. And if you go to different sites, they have just refined its way of using it, but it's basically the same concept. So first, you grab attention of your user, of your consumer. Remember, a person who already knows about your brand, from there, or a person who is already going to purchase about your product, there is no point showing ads to them. The most important thing that you should remember is to show ads to audiences who might be interested, but who doesn't know about your brand, who doesn't know that you exist. So always give stress to your strategy. You should always have a robust strategy, acute planning, and consistent effort to bring those audiences to your website. And after you've brought them to your website, your effort should always be to bring them down the funnel, which means once you have grabbed enough attention, re-engage with them and increase their interest. And as their interest increases, they desire to buy that product and finally take an action. From attention to action, it takes considerable amount of effort, considerable amount of sequential messaging within your campaign, which will drive to an action. Now, so I always like to divide it based on homepage visitors, category page visitors, cart abandoners, converted users. This is a common campaign segmentation that I like to do for my clients. And there are a few things that you have to remember. Your bid segmentation, your as you segment your audiences and you create your ad groups based on these audiences, all these audiences should not be in one ad group. These websites, these audiences are basically different behavioral points or of customer journey, so they should have a different bid value, and the most important value should be like the highest should be for the cart abandoners and lower as you go up. um, Now, recency. To build this audience segment and to chunk out the audiences who has already come to your website, like I said, you should not put your effort to people who has already been to your website and knows about your product or services. If they liked it, they will definitely come back. But if they did not like it, probably your strategy will be different. You might not want to engage with them. Again, the second thing is a person who might have already bought your product 7 days back might not want to buy a product at least for a month. Right? It completely depends on the product that you are selling. So recency comes in handy when we have to understand the ability of the segment audiences and how recently they have visited the website and should we show them ads or not. So for example, let's say a person, you are running a retail business and you want to show ads of a dress. Now a person might have been interested in dress 30 days ago. It's completely fine to show the person that ad. um, you should remove the audiences who have already bought the dress 30 days ago, and you should continue to show it. uh, uh, so you should continue to show it people who has seen your dress 90 days ago, so something like that. Again, another example is you recently launched a planter in your website. We have few converted users who had bought your plant 7 days ago. You can target them because for plant they would need a planter, but someone who has bought the planter 30 days ago, so someone who has bought a plant 30 days ago from your website would not need a planter in the first place because they would have already arranged for a planter by now. So there is no point in adding that. So there are a lot of layers and a lot of things that you need to understand when you create a strategy and when you use a recency. But if recency is used properly, it can do wonders. Okay, so that's all for now. Thank you.